Well, that was fast. It's 2021. On the first day, we have our first elite COVID hypocrite busted for celebrating the Times Square ball drop when the rest of the event was canceled for the general public. None other than Bill DeBlasio, mayor of New York City, busted as our COVID hypocrite number one in January 2021. Hey, what's going on, Gab TV? I saw this headline on Citizen Free Press: DeBlasio slammed for Times Square dance with his wife. Now, you may have seen the news headlines from Breitbart and other sources that back in September, the New York City department responsible for the ball drop, they announced that there would be no crowd for the New Year's Eve ball drop in Times Square for the first time since 1907. And on this article, they have cut in pieces from New York City Patch, which looks like it's just cutouts from ball history, timesquareball.net on the ball history page. And they talk about how organizers announced in September that it would be closed to the public during the event, marking the first time since its inception in 1907 that throngs of people would not gather in Midtown. So this is the first time since 1907 that large crowds would not gather in Midtown Manhattan to watch the ball drop. There's no mention here on this article, and there's no mention on ball history about the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic in New York. There is a great article from the New York Times on what New York looked like during the 1918 flu pandemic. But if you know about this 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, healthy people were dying. It wasn't just the weakest and the most feeble among us that were dying from the pandemic in 1918, like the current pandemic. And anybody was vulnerable, and thousands of young, healthy people died. But I'm assuming, based off of the lack of mention here in the Breitbart article and on the Ball History website, that throngs of people must have gathered in 1918 to celebrate New Year's Eve amongst the Spanish flu pandemic, where we know that healthy people were even vulnerable to that pandemic, where the COVID-19 pandemic is only an issue for the most vulnerable among us, for people that have comorbidities, old people, sick people. Young people pretty much are not affected by this flu, by this COVID-19 virus. And despite that, Bill DeBlasio decided to cancel the ball drop in Times Square, but then he has the balls to go ahead and celebrate with his wife and do a dance to Frank Sinatra's New York, and they tweet this out on the official New York City Mayor's Office Twitter page, and they tweet out this little dance. Here they are dancing. They've got one other couple there, and they're dancing obviously 6 feet away. They're practicing their socialist distancing, but there's no better illustration of rules for thee and not for me than this kind of thing right here. We've seen this with a number of the elite hypocrite politicians nationwide, where people like Gavin Newsom and London Breed in California, and even here in Washington State, we have people like this, and then we have mayors and politicians all over the country that will go and dine in restaurants after shutting down restaurants in their cities, voting to shut them down, and then they themselves go out and do it. They will tell people not to travel, and then they get caught traveling, like Dr. Birx herself. She just got caught. I did a video previously about Dr. Birx going out and traveling for the holidays right after telling everybody not to travel. And then she brings multiple households together in a vacation home where they just go ahead and do it. Obviously they're not concerned about the virus. It's rules for thee, not for me. These elite politicians and elite hypocrites want to push these restrictions and lifestyle restrictions onto the rest of us, while they can go out and celebrate, and nothing gets in their way. They can go out and celebrate without having a single worry, not have to have the general public get in their way. Rules for thee, not for me. Communism is the real virus. This is what they're pushing. This is what they're using the COVID-19 virus to push on the rest of us, is communism. That's why they're trying to destroy our small businesses. They're trying to shut down our restaurants, shut down the small businesses nationwide, and mostly in blue states and blue cities. It's so hypocritical the way these people operate. And it seems like more and more of them are getting caught on camera and busted. And the first one of 2021, New York City's Bill DeBlasio. Well, let's hope he gets voted out in the next election. Thanks for tuning in. And be sure to check out the rest of my content over on Gab TV, link in the description.